in the right direction.
Tune into Channel 8 News covering Gage County.
Good morning, America. Breaking overnight, the failing First Republic Bank seized and sold. Overnight, J.P. Morgan Chase buying the struggling First Republic Bank, saving it from the brink of collapse after customers withdrew more than $100 billion in deposits in less than 2 months after the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. What it means for consumers.
A state of emergency overnight. A tornado touching down in Virginia Beach, possibly the strongest in years, damaging dozens of homes. Plus, the flood threat drenching the East Coast. Ginger is tracking it all.
Manhunt in Texas. 200 officers, including the FBI, are going door to door searching for the man accused of killing 5 of his neighbors, including a 9-year-old boy. What we're learning this morning.
Race to escape Sudan. A second U.S. convoy helping trapped Americans escape the war-torn country. As the UN warns the humanitarian situation is reaching a breaking point.
Pushing back on Putin. The ominous warning from Russian mercenary fighters and what it means for the war in Ukraine.
Brazen robbery in broad daylight. 2 armed thieves storming a luxury jewelry store in Paris, escaping on motorcycles.
This morning, the new mortgage rules now in effect. What they mean and why having a high credit score might not be a good thing.
Major upheaval for Jenny Craig, the weight loss giant, warning employees of looming closures and layoffs and a possible bankruptcy coming in just a few days. Now, what's next as popular weight loss drugs upend the industry?
Countdown to the coronation. King Charles to be officially crowned this Saturday. Right now, the backlash from the British public after being invited to swear allegiance to the king. As we learn more about how much the historic ceremony will cost as Brits battle a tough economy. Plus, who's on the guest list as one of Princess Diana's confidants speaks out about her legacy ahead of the coronation and why he says she was left behind. We're live from London in Wales as GMA's week of coronation coverage kicks off.
And Steph Curry golden again.
Steph Curry magic here in the 4th quarter.
Leading the Warriors into the 2nd round of the playoffs, setting up a blockbuster showdown with LeBron and the Lakers.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
Good morning, America. Thank you for starting your week with us. And boy, what a wild night in the world of sports. Steph Curry, he doesn't what, Robin?
He does not miss.
That man does not miss.
Why does that make you so mad?
Because everybody's got to miss every once in a while. It makes it look too easy, George. But I'm happy for him because he had a record-setting performance in the NBA playoffs. And in hockey, it was an unbelievable upset on the ice. Boy, that was a hard one to swallow.
And there's another Game 7 tonight, Rangers and Devils.
Yep.
But that is all ahead. We're going to begin, though, with a major deal overnight. J.P. Morgan Chase buying embattled First Republic Bank, which was near collapse.
Deal reached just hours ago in time for the markets to open after a weekend-long scramble to find a buyer. Chief Business Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis starts us off from Wall Street. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning to you, George. And it is highly unusual to see a bank of this magnitude go under. First Republic had been teetering on the brink of collapse for months, and this morning it has a new owner.
Overnight, the 3rd bank to fail in the U.S. since March. Financial regulators seizing control of First Republic Bank and striking a deal to sell it off. J.P. Morgan Chase acquiring all deposits and substantially all assets held by California-based First Republic, including 84 First Republic branches that will reopen as J.P. Morgan branches. J.P. Morgan CEO saying in a statement, "Our government invited us and others to step up, and we did."
First Republic has been teetering ever since Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank were closed back in early March. So it is highly unusual to see, especially this magnitude of number of banks that are being brought into receivership by the FDIC. But based on our analysis of the banking industry, this was the last of the ones that should face significant challenges.
Shares of First Republic, the country's 14th largest commercial bank as of last year, plunging 75% last week after the bank reported customers withdrew more than $100 billion in deposits in the wake of the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank in March.
It is difficult, nearly impossible for any bank to survive that type of deposit outflow of their core deposits. So them being closed and going into receivership last night shouldn't be viewed as a shock and awe and a surprise to the banking industry. So I'm not expecting contagion to occur.
And the Treasury Department telling ABC News it is encouraged by the fact that J.P. Morgan has now bought First Republic, that all depositors in this will be made whole. And that's a very important thing to remember here. Despite the fact we've seen these three major bank failures now, depositors, people with their money in bank accounts at these companies, they have all been made whole. They've all been able to access their money despite the failures of the banks themselves. Robin?
That is encouraging news, Rebecca. Thank you. Now to the severe weather on the East Coast and a state of emergency in Virginia Beach after a tornado tore through that area, damaged dozens of homes. Faith Abube is on the scene for us. Good morning, Faith.
Good morning to you, Robin. Despite the extensive damage here in this neighborhood, remarkably, there have been no injuries or deaths reported here. But this morning, you have state police just behind me blocking access to that badly damaged community.
Oh, my God. Where are we going to go?
This morning, severe weather pounding the mid-Atlantic.
Oh my God, that is a tornado.
In Virginia Beach, a state of emergency issued after a tornado and severe storms battered the area Sunday. Authorities estimate between 50 and 100 homes were damaged. The storm also uprooting trees and leaving thousands of customers without power. The wind so strong this truck tipped over. While this video shows a twister tearing through in Bay Island.
Oh my God, it's like right in front of us. Oh my God.
And over the weekend, an EF2 tornado whipping through North Palm Beach, Florida.
That's a tornado.
This is the scariest thing I've ever been in. Oh my God. Holy.
The twister flipping cars, winds clocking in at up to 130 miles per hour.
I'm lucky to be alive, man.
Uprooted trees, landing on top of homes, and crushing cars.
I saw the tornado coming and I ran and hid, and this is what I came back outside to.
And Cox High School, which is just beyond those trees behind me there, now closed this morning, one of 3 schools that have been closed due to the damage in this community. In the meantime, though, the National Weather Service and the mayor are expected here this morning to survey the damage. Robin?
We'll hear what they have to say, Faith. Thank you. Ginger's tracking the latest on the flooding here in the East. Good morning, Ginger.
I heard you talking about it, Robin. What a super soaker of a weekend we had. 2 to 4 inches overall, as displayed by Metropolitan Avenue there in Queens, where it's tire deep in some places. You still do have some flood warnings around because this low is not done with us yet. It is moving through New England now, and that push of heaviest rain will focus itself on Maine. And so Portland to Waterville is in the flood warning. That goes through tonight. But flood watches in New Hampshire and parts of other Maine going to go through early tomorrow morning. We are going to see more rain this week. Unfortunately, I know, bad news for everybody, but it is going to be this low that comes through. It's 1 to 3 inches of slushy snow from Traverse City back to Grand Rapids. But as it moves through the Northeast, it's all rain. Michael, when it hits the Appalachians, you'll see a little bit of snow in there too.
All right, rain's better than snow to me, Ginger, but thank you for that. And now we're going to turn to the urgent manhunt in Texas for the man police say killed 5 of his neighbors, including a 9-year-old boy. ABC's Matt Rivers is on the scene with the latest.
This morning, an $80,000 reward on the table in the search for the man authorities say killed 5 people in Cleveland, Texas, north of Houston. Officials say the suspect, Francisco Oropesa, is still on the loose. Some 200 officers now going door to door looking for him.
We do not know where he is. We don't have any tips right now to where he may be.
Authorities giving this account of the shooting. Oropesa in his yard Friday night firing his AR-15 for fun. A next-door neighbor asks him to stop. A newborn was trying to sleep. The suspect follows the neighbor home, barges inside, and fires. 5 of the 10 people inside were killed. Diana Velasquez Alvarado, Julissa Molina Rivera, Josue Jonathan Cáceres, Sonia Argentina Guzman, and Daniel Enrique Lazo, just 9 years old. Gustavo Guzman was related to 4 of the victims and lives nearby.
Tuve que mover a mi familia para Houston. Los tengo allá por miedo a este hombre que no vaya allá.
Están escondiendo.
Sí.
So he moved his family to Houston to hide, essentially. He's nervous because this guy is still on the loose.
On Sunday, hundreds gathered for a vigil at the elementary school where Sonia dropped her son Daniel off at school each day, both killed in the shooting. They were Wilson Garcia's wife and stepson. I'm trying to be strong for my kids, he says. My daughter, she kind of knows what's going on, but it's difficult when she comes and she starts to ask for mommy and her brother. Now, all 5 victims in this case are from Honduras. The suspect is from Mexico. In a short statement, Governor Greg Abbott saying the state of Texas will provide some of the reward money and additional resources. He chose not to say anything about the victims, not even naming them, calling them, quote, 5 illegal immigrants. George?
Okay, Matt, thanks very much. Overseas now to the crisis in Sudan. The humanitarian situation is reaching a breaking point as the U.S. sends a second convoy to evacuate American citizens trapped in the war-torn country. Foreign correspondent Britt Clennett has the story. Good morning, Britt.
Good morning, George. Well, yeah, the deadly fighting between 2 rival military forces in Sudan is entering a 3rd week. The ceasefire now extended, but the scramble to flee the violence is intensifying, with another U.S. convoy now successfully taking evacuees out of the danger, completing a very risky journey to Saudi Arabia. This morning, a second U.S. military ship safely evacuating around 300 people from the violence in Sudan. Saudi media saying a 1/3 of them are Americans. According to the State Department, nearly 1,000 U.S. citizens have already been evacuated since the conflict began. These buses with drones guarding them from above, used to take evacuees on a dangerous 500-mile journey to safety. From Khartoum to Port Sudan, eventually arriving in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. The rush to get out causing chaos at some borders. These satellite images showing cars and crowds of refugees at the Egyptian border. In Cairo, more than 100 evacuees landed overnight thanks to an evacuation flight run by a U.S. military veteran. Meanwhile, conditions on the ground are deteriorating. Bodies piling up in the street, while residents report little access to drinking water, food or fuel. Well, the United States says it is closely monitoring the extension of this very fragile truce that was agreed by both sides. The ceasefire has so far failed to stop the intense fighting. Michael.
All right, Britt, thank you so much. We're going to turn now to the new warning from Russian mercenary fighters and what it means for the war in Ukraine. ABC's Marcus Moore is on the ground in Ukraine with the latest. Good morning, Marcus.
Michael, good morning. The head of Russia's Wagner mercenary group says they are running low on ammunition and that they need more. And if what he is saying is true, it could have a major impact on the fighting here in Ukraine, and particularly in the eastern city of Bakhmut.
This morning, the head of Russia's Wagner mercenary forces threatens to withdraw his troops from the Battle of Bakhmut in eastern Ukraine. In an interview published over the weekend, Yevgeny Prigozhin says Russia is on the brink of disaster, issuing an ultimatum to the country's defense minister demanding more ammunition be provided. He warns if the problem with supplies isn't resolved, he would complain to President Vladimir Putin, and mercenaries would leave their positions. He issued the deadline on April 27th, giving the defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, 24 hours to reply. Still no word on if he's responded. According to Prigozhin's forecast, Ukraine's expected counteroffensive will begin no later than May 15th. While overnight, new airstrikes. Ukraine's military says it shot down 15 Russian missiles, but 3 managed to get through, hitting targets in eastern Ukraine, injuring 25 people.
These comments from the Wagner Group come as Ukraine readies its expected counteroffensive. And according to Ukrainian officials, the preparations are nearly complete. And over the weekend, President Zelensky said that this counteroffensive will happen, but he didn't say when. And George, a successful counteroffensive for Ukraine will be critical.
Marcus Moore, thanks. In France, it's Labor Day, and major protests are expected, with workers and activists calling for higher wages and better working conditions. These demonstrations come just weeks after the protests over the country's retirement age. James Longman is tracking the latest.
Good morning, George. Paris and all of France are bracing for protests this morning. On this Labour Day, a mass strike has been called, something that happens every year, but organisers are calling this one a historic mobilisation. As many as 100,000 people are expected to take part in demonstrations in Paris alone, as many as 500,000 people across the country. Now, for weeks, France has been dealing with the fallout of President Macron's decision to raise the retirement age, and so there will be a heavy police presence as officials are warning of high-risk elements in the crowds. Protests have become violent in France. They often turn into riots. Tear gas and water cannon have been used, buildings raided and property destroyed. Now, strikes are often called with very little notice, so this disruption could last through the summer, and of course that hits the height of the tourist season. Robin?
It does, James. Thank you. Well, what a night. Okay, the Golden State Warriors now advancing to the second round of the NBA playoffs. That big comeback against the Kings and a record-setting performance by who, Michael? By who?
Steph, don't miss at all Curry.
That's right. Will Weave is here with all those highlights.
Good morning. Good morning, Robin. He is just on another level. Steph Curry putting the team on his back. The defending champs, they're on to the second round to face LeBron James in the playoffs for the first time since the 2018 finals. So one round done in the NBA playoffs. They have been phenomenal. Let's buckle up for round two.
Curry with Murray on him. Three-pointer. Puts it in! Oh, Steph Curry from way downtown.
This morning, a record-breaking, season-saving performance from Stephen Curry as the second round of the NBA playoffs is set.
Curry just flips it up and in. Steph Curry magic here in the fourth quarter.
Curry's 50 points in the Golden State Warriors win over the Sacramento Kings, an NBA Game 7 record. The defending champs moving on to face LeBron James and the Lakers.
LeBron for three.
In a marquee round two matchup after L.A. closed out the Grizzlies this weekend.
Another touchdown slam by Jimmy Buckets.
And it was the first second-round game at Madison Square Garden in over a decade for the New York Knicks, who, in front of a star-studded crowd, fell to Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat in Game 1. Butler rolling his ankle in the game's final minutes, finishing the game in apparent pain.
And this does not look good.
Butler toughing it out and remaining in the game, helping the Heat secure the win.
And tonight, a new chapter written in the rivalry between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers will likely start the series without their superstar MVP candidate, Joel Embiid. He's doubtful with a knee injury, guys.
How about on the ice?
Oh,
How about
the
on the
hockey
ice?
Playoffs, the NHL, it is so good. It is so good. There were some upsets. There'll be a new Stanley Cup champion this year. The defending champs, the Colorado Avalanche, losing at home in Game 7 to the Seattle Kraken. That was their first ever playoff appearance. Wow. And a seismic moment in Boston last night. The Bruins were the best team in NHL history, a record 65 wins this year. They had a 3-1 series lead against the Florida Panthers. They lost in Game 7 in overtime last night. And another Game 7 tonight. Put out the good vibes. ESPN 8 Eastern, the New Jersey Devils hosting the New York Rangers. I am terrified.
Come on. You're all for the Devils, huh?
No, stop that. I am the biggest Rangers fan in the building, maybe in the world. So we got to put out the vibe for the Rangers.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Will. All right, coming up, we have the mom influencer with millions of followers who falsely accused a couple of trying to kidnap her kids, now convicted of lying to police, what it means for her future behind bars.
Also had the new mortgage rules now in effect this morning, what potential home buyers should know.
Plus a major change for Jenny Craig, warning employees of shutdowns, massive layoffs, and even bankruptcy. We're going to have the latest, but first, let's go back to Ginger. Ginger?
Hey, Robin, Mississippi River is cresting at Davenport, Iowa today, and downstream, it will be cresting in the days to come. So Illinois City, Burlington, all of the areas you see in that magenta color, that's who yet has to deal with the flooding. But it will be going down, and that's good news because that snow has then melted. Your local weather now in just 30 seconds.
Don't wish. Don't hope. Don't dream. No. Plan. See the steps it takes to get it done right and follow them. At Avis, we rent cars, unlike anyone else rents cars. Because for 75 years, we've only had one plan. To make sure you keep yours.
After a very windy weekend, we still keep the wind today, although it is a little bit better. Northwest wind sustained at 15 to 25 miles per hour, so yeah, still breezy, but not quite as windy as it has been in recent days. Maybe a few gusts pushing 30 to 35 miles per hour. 66 degrees the high, just a couple of degrees below the average high of 69. We expect a lot of sunshine for May 1st. Sunny skies on Tuesday, a high near 70 after a morning low of 34 degrees. Wednesday is probably our best day outside this week. Middle 70s, mostly sunny skies, and not so much wind.
The father-son moment at the NFL draft that you do not want to miss. Sweet story. We'll be right back.
I'm getting on, I'm moving on. I'm trading hopes, I'm over land. I am tonight, just follow me.
Coco Mademoiselle, Chanel.
At Macy's, the fragrance destination.
We know you care. But if this is all too real for you and your loved ones, make the call. Because we care too. Home instead. To us, it's personal.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily Jardiance at each day start. As time went on, it was easy to see I'm lowering my A1C. Jardiance is really swell, the little pill with the big story to tell. Turn darkness into light.
Martial arts is my passion,
I work out whenever I can.
but with my moderate to severe eczema, it can be tough.
Now I'm staying ahead of it.
Dupixent helps heal your skin from within, so you can have clearer skin and noticeably less itch. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your doctor about Dupixent.
Receive a free bracelet valued up to $225 when you shop Pandora this Mother's Day.
And now, a Channel 8 News Update.
Good morning, I'm Andrew Ward. A week-long campaign to help make sure the next generation inherits an even better community than we live in is now underway. Seward County Gives began at midnight and goes through Friday. The goal is to increase funding and awareness for local nonprofits, along with projects that help the area. There are several events to help out throughout the week, and you can head directly to SewardCountyGives.com to donate money to worthy causes. The Lancaster County Election Commissioner says his office will be open additional hours today for early voting. It's now open until 6 o'clock tonight. This comes as the commissioner told Channel 8 just last month the city saw a major increase in early voting ballots during the primary, and more voters are expected for the general election today. And today marks the 30-year anniversary since a young Lincoln man was murdered. Brandon Tina was transgender and living in Humboldt at the time.
Your
been married 23 years, and the police say, we're here to arrest your husband for the murder of his fiancée. He will maintain his innocence until they carry him out in a box. New Dr. Phil.
Weekdays at 4, followed by Channel 8 News at 5.
Dispatch all cars in Lincoln. Multiple crimes to report. Reports of a homicide in Lincoln. Reports of auto theft in Lincoln.
Under Mayor Gaylor Baird, we're losing our safe hometown. Homicides doubled. Auto thefts doubled. Mayor Gaylor Baird will not fix it. In fact, she recruited a police chief from San Francisco, where criminals run the town and families flee. We can't let Lincoln be the next San Francisco. Tell Mayor Gaylor Baird being soft on crime is ruining Lincoln.
Crime keeps rising in Lincoln, day after day. Headline after tragic headline. Mayor Baird failed Lincoln, siding with rioters over law enforcement.
She was more on the side of the rioters than the actual police itself.
Mayor Baird has made a priority of bike lanes over fighting crime.
While Lincoln is down over 40 police officers, no wonder murders have doubled. Carjackings up 40%. We deserve better. Lincoln needs a change.
Weather in Nebraska can be wild. With the Storm Alert team diligently tracking conditions, you're never caught off guard. Whether you're planning a day out or bunkering down for the storm, prepare for whatever the weather brings with the Storm Alert team. This GMA segment is brought to you by Allo Communications.
To sum up the past 20 years in one word, exceptional. It's one of our core values. But our people have been truly exceptional. Our customer support has been exceptional. In 20 years, where will Allo be? When we started, we were just a business fiber company. Then the demand came from residential. Now the products of both business and residential just continue to expand. We've got to start with customers' needs and always work backwards. The customers will tell us, and our teammates will take us there.
Here's a live look at our Shows roofing camera in Beatrice. Lots of sunshine, and in fact, there's a chance we get through all of the daytime hours today with wall-to-wall sunshine. Right now, 39 degrees in Lincoln, 42 in Omaha, 39 in Nebraska City. These are some of our warmer locations. A little bit farther west, though, we are flirting with the freezing mark, and a couple of areas are below freezing. 31 in Grand Island, 31 in Kearney, 34 in Aurora and York. Aurora and York have been flirting with the freezing mark all morning long, but with a lot of sunshine, temperatures going to warm up pretty quickly. We're looking at 46 degrees in Lincoln by 9 o'clock, 55 degrees by 11, then into the 60s for much of the afternoon. 66 the high in Lincoln, just a couple of degrees below the average high of 69 degrees. Tomorrow morning, 34 degrees in the capital city, so many areas may be flirting with the freezing mark once again. A high of 70 degrees tomorrow afternoon. It should be breezy today and tomorrow, but not so breezy on Wednesday, a high of 76.
Get that smart sugar, just 99 cents. And Hy-Vee large eggs, just $1.77 at Hy-Vee. Save on that smart sugar, just 99 cents. And Hy-Vee large eggs, just $1.77. Monday only, and only at Hy-Vee.
I'm Lyrian Gaylor Baird, and I've worked hard to make Lincoln an even better place to call home for my family and yours. By adding more police officers every single year to keep all our neighborhoods safe. Investing over $200 million in streets to help you get where you need to go. And making Lincoln one of the best cities for economic recovery to expand opportunity for everyone.
Come on, Mom.
I'm Lyrian Gaylor Baird. Join me to keep Lincoln moving in the right direction.
As you're getting ready, we're getting you answers. And whatever the day has in store, we're helping you look ahead. To start your day right, Channel 8 is up with you.
The local water experts at Culligan can take care of everything but the kitchen sink. Actually, we do that too. Culligan, here for every water worry.